Alright, this is a video, or kind of a video response of my own. I'm answering some comments. Sorry if your comment doesn't get answered, and if it's a good comment, I won't I'll acknowledge it. Yeah. Outer Little Prickens, you don't deserve anything of that. Alright, Angry Goyim. You are a very confused young man. The United States has been a Protestant nation since its birth and founding. The fact is one of the main reasons you have everything you take for granted on a daily basis. First off, no. Everything I take for granted? Look at the internet. The idea of its founding, the guy who came up with it was an atheist. Atheist! So why don't you stop sending comments about shit you don't know anything about? He's saying, why don't I bitch about the Jews? Because they get to light a candlestick menorah on the White House lawn every year. Is that more flagrant than having to say under God during the pledge? No, it's not more flagrant, because I have to deal with that shit every time I go to school. Most of the founding fathers were either deist or agnostic for the most part. And I mean, really, know your facts before you really challenge someone, you delusional piece of shit. Alright, then he posts another comment he removed, I guess because the numbers didn't add up right for him. The religious affiliation of our founding fathers, signers of the Articles of Confederation and Declaration of Independence, was 54.7 Episcopalian Anglican, Christian Protestant, 18.6 Presbyterian. Okay, Presbyterian is Protestant. Why didn't you put those together if it were true? 16.8 Congregationalists. So out of all these really religious, in your point of view, founding fathers, only 16.8 of them went to church. That's what Congregationalist means. 9.9% other. If indeed you were correct, the 9.9%, which were the most important ones, by the way, you stated as other, were the agnostics and deists. It says, you have no idea what you're talking about, Mr. Longhair. You're just a bladder full of hot air. I guess you're trying to make something rhyme. But, show me your sources. We had 55 delegates. How do you have 0.7 of a person? And having it be 55 delegates, let's just go ahead and make it sort of even and divide your 100% by 2. How do you have 0.35% of a person? I'm pretty sure none of our delegates were midgets, aside from perhaps John Adams. And also, to indulge you, even if they were, which they are not, what relevance does that have now? You don't agree with slavery, do you? Some of them did. If you're arguing from ethos, stop, because ethos has no ground in a reason argument. Don't post a reason by authority argument. And I have a pretty good idea what I'm talking about. Separation of church and state is most definitely in the Constitution. Thank you, Nick Files, for doing that, and also thanks to Catalyst for justifying me. In Origin Guy, can you imagine standing before God and him saying, I'm sorry, I don't believe in you? What would you do then? Okay, this would require God to be real and afterlife to be real. Alright, Gerswald, in response to that, he says, you assert a lot of things, prove it, but you can't. Then again, I can't prove that there is one. Exactly. I'm not trying, okay. Just because I can't disprove something doesn't mean that I'm somehow lazy or lacking in the ability to disprove it. You have to prove it first for me to be able to disprove it. You have to come up with some sort of real evidence for me to be able to disprove it. But you haven't. So, this is now who's been crushed with immense logic. Not me. If by immense logic you mean immense stupidity, then maybe. Alright. No, you aren't proving anything, but you assert again and again that there is no God, no everlasting, as if it's proven fact. You don't prove something. Oh my God, I'm losing. You need evidence, man. Evidence. You have to prove something. It's not my problem. I wouldn't be worrying about God and all this shit if people weren't screwing up the world with it. Maybe forever. I'm going to disregard a few of your comments because they don't make any sense. I can't grasp the concept of nothingness, blah, 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 blah. Visible signs of life. Space is just perception, my friend. Space itself is not a tangible existence. I respect your logic. I was just saying that to make you think. I previously didn't believe in God either. Someone once told me that the only way to prove he exists is to ask him if he is real, and to prove it to you if he is. I have never known anyone to ask God and God not eventually prove it to them. Besides, how do you account for thousands upon thousands of prophecies in the Bible to come true? The Bible is the most accurate book on prophecy ever. So I could basically say anything is a prophecy. There will be a purple pick that rides into a town on a blue horse, blah 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 blah. You can perceive that as anything because it's vague. And if God answers you, you need meds. And if you're saying He proves you through events, that's just taking good happening and attributing it to the Sky Fairy. All right, Psycho Knights. This sounds really good. If you believe government recognition of God violates the First Amendment, how do you explain the founding fathers who wrote the First Amendment and clearly understood its meaning, constantly made reference to God in public speeches and congressional-led prayer? There is no separation of church and state in the Constitution. However, there is a guarantee to say the state will not interfere with the individual's right to worship. There is a separation of church and state. It's in the First Amendment. Ignorance alert. Read some shit. The founding fathers were not religious, the ones that mattered. Sure, there may have been a few out of the 55, but for the ones that actually played a big part, they were agnostic or deist. Okay? And, okay, here's why they led the whole prayer thing. The people were religious, as they have always been, until now. The reason they do that, the way to organize the people for them was to use the religion, of course. Asshole. Chandelic chick. So everything you haven't personally observed doesn't exist. No dark matter is possible. Have you ever personally seen ball of lightning? Have you ever seen plutonium? Lots of things must not exist because Justin hasn't seen them personally. Okay, difference is that we have strong incurrence and certain amounts of evidence to prove those things exist, especially since you can actually see plutonium, ball of lightning, and what's that other thing? Okay, dark matter you can't see, but we have proof that it exists because there's a large amount of gravitational pull that's not accounted for in our galaxy. We can only attribute it to dark matter. I mean, we can prove these things through instrumentation. We cannot do that with God. We don't have any type of proof for God or unicorns or the flying fucking spaghetti monster. And then evil residence 4, dude, we created God. God did not create us. Might as well enjoy life. You have only one. Don't spend your life trying to get to heaven when there isn't one. Thank you, man. You kind of sum up a lot of good things. Okay, this goes on to another video where I was getting some comments on my challenge to all theists and proving that homosexuality is inherently wrong. He was trying to prove that somehow it's inherently wrong because it goes against our natural urges to procreate and things. Well, as a whole, certainly the majority does want to procreate with the opposite sex, but you can't account that to every individual. If I was born and I was attracted to guys, I mean, I'm not, but if I was, then that's my natural urge. I mean, you can't say that's wrong. I mean, that's just how it is. I mean, wrong is only applied to things in ethics, and you can't prove through an ethical point that homosexuality is wrong. There's no possible way for you to do it. That's why I made that challenge, so that some asshole would come up and try and do it. And also, time does not exist. Einstein proved that. Time doesn't exist. It's a perspective. He's trying to prove that Einstein did prove it or something. By the way, Einstein is not Christian. He was definitely, some people try to attribute him to transcendentalists. He was far from it. He said he did not believe in any personal God. So, shove it up your ass. I'm guessing this is pretty much all I can do with all these comments. I guess I could go in this one. How can one observe non-existence? Arlo Prickens, I guess you do get something. I'm not observing non-existence. Let's just look at it like this. Let's make a Where's Waldo book, and don't put any Waldo in it. And you'd be like, well, wouldn't that just be a Where's book? Not if someone claims there's a Waldo. Well, then there's Waldo right there in the title. I found him. I don't even have to look inside. That's the problem with most people who look at the Bible. You haven't found anything real. An idea isn't something real. It's a thought. And you just poorly refuted a strawman argument that I put up. Wasn't exactly strawman. It was just me trying to give you a metaphor. You fail. Go away. And shit. And if it looks like I'm wearing makeup on my eyes, I'm not. I don't know what's up. I woke up this morning. It looks like this. Alright, I'm out. Justinatorator.